Texas Mom here. My ex-husband and I have been divorced for 8 years. We share 2 kids, ages 13 and 11. When I asked for a separation in 2015, it was due to infidelity. He moved in that same night with his mistress into her home approximately 2.5 hours away from our town. They got married the day after our divorce was final. He got the kids 2 or 3 weekends a month, but never took his full visitation time, which was from Friday to Sunday at 6. He would generally bring them back noonish on Sundays. I relocated to the same city that they reside in 6 months ago so that he could be more involved. The kids wanted more time with him, and I supported that. Shortly after moving, the kids started experiencing hostility from their stepmom. Having been a stepmom for 12 years myself, I get all the angles, and I'm just trying to be supportive and objective of both sides. It has escalated into physical altercations between my 13-year-old daughter and her stepmom, most recently being last week. I did file a police report, but there were no injuries besides red marks on my child's face from being slapped 3 times. The officer did not file charges. Fast forward to tonight, my fiance and I went over to my ex and his wife's house to discuss our concerns and try to find solutions so that it does not escalate to CPS or court. I'm very passive and an understanding person, but this was my breaking point. The stepmom was very aggressive from the moment we walked in, calling me names and being extremely confrontational. She told me she wanted to punch me in the face because I'm a effing bitch and that I'm an absent parent. Dad just stood there pretty quiet through all of it. And they have also had some physical altercations between the two of them. Stepmom finally agreed to work on some things after I attempted to leave and announced we were going back to the standard possession order for Dad, but I am doubtful. I'm at a loss of what to do. I do not want to keep my children from being close to their dad, especially due to all of the time that they lost with him. I'm frustrated because I've been the only one making sacrifices, providing for our kids, working multiple jobs for years at a time to provide for my kids with no help, only to have it thrown in my face. He is $65,000 behind in child support. I'm looking for some support here. I feel defeated. I want my kids to have access to both parents in happy, healthy homes. Ooh, so I was recording this and then had to leave to go to an appointment. Now I'm back, coming back to it, listened to it again, read your story again. My name is Billy Tarasio. I'm an Arizona family law attorney, and there is so much to unpack here. There's so much to unpack. So for 2.5 years, you have been raising these kids by yourself. Oh no, you've been divorced 8 years. For 8 years, you've been raising these kids by yourself. You haven't been getting child support. It's been really, really hard. Your kids miss their dad. You moved to be closer to him. And then this woman that your husband was cheating on you with, who's now their stepmom, starts abusing your children. You go over to their house to try to work something out because you really just don't want to do this by yourself anymore. You want your children to have their dad. And she verbally assaults you. And you are a passive person. You don't want to go back to court. You don't want to make police reports. The cops, well, or maybe you did make a police report, but the cops haven't pressed charges. Couple things here. Couple of thoughts from me. Number one, you and Dad never again go over to their house. Public place. If the 4 of you are ever going to meet, it needs to be in a public place. But it probably is more appropriate for you and Dad to meet. And you need Dad's commitment that his wife is going to keep her freaking hands off your children. I would also try to get an order of protection. I don't know if it will be granted, hit and miss, but I would try. I also would consider going back to court for modification. You're changing your parenting plan anyway, and if I were in front of a judge on these facts, I would make sure that there was a court order that said no corporal punishment. And it might be good to have some eyes on the situation. Sounds like the stepmom is real volatile. Bottom line is you have to protect your children. That's your number one job. So even though you would like them to have 2 happy, healthy homes, you can only make sure that your home is happy and healthy. And you can influence your ex-husband by putting certain amounts of pressure on him to have his home be healthier and happier, but you can't make up for his decisions, and he needs to be held accountable for his decisions. And unfortunately, you are the person who's going to need to hold him accountable. Your children can't. Also, words matter. There aren't physical altercations between teenagers and parents. There are parents becoming abusive. It is the parent's job to be under control of themselves. So if there's abuse going on, let's call it what it is.